Hi, this is Melissa from Barnes Sewing Center, and today I'm going to show you how to thread the Juki TL18QVP. Let's get started. So to begin threading this machine, the first thing I want to do, since it is threaded with this color, is I want to cut the thread at the top and pull it through from the needle. I never want to grab thread and pull it backwards out of the machine. That can actually damage the tension discs in the machine. Thread likes to move forward. You never want to pull it backwards out of the machine. So I cut my thread at the top and pulled it through from the needle, and now I'm ready to wind a bobbin. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take my tail of thread, and to wind a bobbin, I'm going to come to this piece first, and I want to go through this top hole, and I'm taking the thread from back towards the front of the machine. I'm going to grab that thread and I'm going to pull it over to the right. I want to take this thread and I want to loop counterclockwise around my tension disc here. So I have this circle on top of this flat piece. I'm going to take the thread along the flat part and bring it right underneath that circular tension disc. So I'm looping from back to front counterclockwise, and I just make a little half circle. Then I like to just give a little shoe shine to make sure the thread really tugs into the tension disc there. So then I will take the thread over to the right towards my bobbin winder. I'm going to bring the thread through the notch in my bobbin. So from the inside of the bobbin up through the notch, and then I'm just going to grab that tail. Now there's also a notch on the bottom of the bobbin, and that has to sit on a little prong that's on my bobbin winder spindle right here. So I'm going to gently pop the bobbin on and then spin it around. And once it finds that notch, my bobbin's going to fall down into place. And now I can take this flat bar and push it back. And I've engaged my bobbin winder, so when I step on my foot controller, I'm winding the bobbin. Again, holding that extra tail of thread up and out of the way. And after a couple seconds, I can pause and I can trim that thread that I'm holding. And now I'm ready to finish winding my bobbin. Now that we've wound a bobbin, I've taken the extension table off the machine and we're looking at the left side of the machine. I'm going to open up my bobbin cover area, and my bobbin case is right down in here. So there is a latch pointing to about 3 o'clock that I'm going to look for, and I'm going to grab that latch, and that will allow me to pull my bobbin case out of the machine. So here's a close-up of my bobbin case, and this is the latch that I was referring to. So when the bobbin case goes into the hook area, this points to 3 o'clock, thinking of like if we were looking at a clock and the hour hands of the clock. To put the bobbin into the bobbin case, I'm going to turn it around to look at the open side of the bobbin case. And I'm going to take this bobbin out. It just kind of drops out when that latch is closed. So we would take the bobbin that we just wound, and we want that tail of thread hanging down on the right hand side. So coming from the top of the bobbin and hanging down on the right. Now some people remember this by this is a quilt machine, so it looks like a letter Q. We're going to drop it into our bobbin case with that tail hanging down on the right hand side. And I want to take the thread and look for this little notch right here. There's that little slit in the bobbin case, which I'm going to tug the thread in, and then I'm going to slide it flat against the bobbin case to pull it underneath this tension piece right here. So this flat piece is, the thread goes underneath it and just comes up through the opening at the top of the bobbin case. So one more time. Thread tail hanging down on the right. Drop the bobbin into the bobbin case. Thread through the slit and underneath the tension and up through the hole. I'm going to take my bobbin case and insert it back into the hook area with that latch pointing over to 3 o'clock. I like to leave the latch flat and hold the bobbin case on the outside, so once I push it in and get it in place, I can give a good push with my thumb and hear it click into place. If you're inserting your bobbin case by holding the latch out, you may not hear it click into place, but you want to make sure you push it back as far as it can go and then close the latch and just give it an extra little push just to ensure that the bobbin case is seated as far back as it needs to go. To start threading my Juki machine, I'm going to take my cone of thread and put it onto my cone holder here. And then I'll take the thread and lift it straight up into this piece right above my spool of thread. If I don't have a cone of thread, I can pop it onto the spindle without the cone thread holder and put a spool cap on top of it. I'm then going to take my thread over to this flat piece here. Now if you look at it from the top, there's 3 holes in here. I'm going to start with the hole on the right, and I'm going to drop the thread from top to bottom through the hole on the right. I'm going to skip the middle hole, and I'm going to bring the thread back up to the top. I'm going to thread the hole on the left from top to bottom. When I do that, I should see my thread crossing here in front of this metal bar. Every once in a while it may loop to the back, and that's going to create a little knot in the back here. So make sure that you see that thread crossing in the front here. So top to bottom through the hole on the right, top to bottom through the hole on the left, and the thread just crisscrosses right here in the front. And then I'm going to take the thread to the left, and these are my pre-tension discs. So there's 2 flat little discs right here. I'm going to bring the thread in between those 2 discs and then heading straight down. As I continue straight down with the thread, I'm now to my tension disc. So as with any sewing machine, you want to make sure that the presser foot is not down. When the foot's down, the tension discs will close, and when the foot's up, the tension discs will open up so I can allow my thread to flow into the tension. I'm going to take the thread straight down and loop it on the right side, full circle around. Now there's a little metal piece here. I want to make sure the thread goes underneath and then behind that little metal prong right there. So my thread is kind of in that little U shape of the wire. Then I'm going to come down around this little metal finger pointing down and up through my first little catch. After I brought the thread through here, I'm going to loop the thread from right to left around my take-up lever here, and it flows into the front circular part of my take-up lever. I'm going to come straight back down and catch it behind this piece one more time. As I continue down with the thread, I have a little flat bar right here that I'm going to take the thread in from the left and give it a good little tug to the right, and it clicks into place there. And then I'm going to use my needle threader. the first step of my needle threader is I want to take the thread behind this little wire that sticks out to the left. And I'm just going to catch the thread behind there. So now as I push this little white flat piece down, my needle threader is going to come down and it's going to hug around my needle. At this point, since I'm done threading past the tension discs, I like to lower the presser foot down. It just gives me a little bit more room in my needle area. I'm going to pull that threader all the way down until these little fingers here swing around and hug around my needle, and you almost hear them click into place. That's when you know it's pushed down as far as it can go. So taking the thread behind the wire, pushing my lever down, I'm going to bring the thread behind and underneath those little metal fingers that hugged around my needle. And then I'm going to take the thread over to this little pocket in the front. It's just a little plastic piece and the thread just tucks into there. And when I let go of my threader, it has grabbed a loop of thread and threaded through the eye of the needle for me. So now that my needle is threaded, I'm ready to lift my presser foot up. I like to take the threads and push them underneath the foot and to the back of the machine. And I can put my fabric in and start sewing.